Hello, everyone, and welcome to my inspirational talk. It's going to be on the spiritual dimension of the Enneagram, which is something I already teach and love teaching. And I hope it will inspire you too. So, the original purpose with the Enneagram is actually to give us a land map um, for our journey from ego to essence, from the small self to the big self, or as it's framed in the Buddhist tradition, to conquer thoughts and Maya and all of the psychology that gets in the way of our Buddha nature. Um, so I think that we are all born into this life with both a soul. I think the soul is divine and eternal, and with a psychology, a body, a psychological structure. I also believe that we are born with our Enneagram type, and that we are born with the soul qualities of that type. I also think that before we came into this body, into this life, we chose the exact right Enneagram type for the journey that we have agreed to be on in this lifetime. And so when we come into life, we are like castles with light in every room. All the windows are open, all the doors are open. We inhabit everything, like we inhabit all qualities, all our humanness. There is no guilt, no shame. I think this is what we see when we see into the eyes of a baby or a small child. We see this innocence, this knowing that you are loved and good enough, and this direct contact with the divine. And then this castle will meet our parents, and they will have doors and windows that have been shut down in their castle. And so, because our survival strategy or our survival ability is so strong, we look at our parents and see what they have closed off in themselves. And then a combination of what they have closed off and the Enneagram type that we are born into will determine what doors and windows we will start closing off in our beautiful shining castle. And so I will shut off different qualities that I don't think I'm allowed in this world. And I will start building up this comfort zone that I live within. And so, as long as I'm within this comfort zone, as long as I think and act within this comfort zone, I will feel sort of safe. And the minute I go to the borders of this comfort zone, I will be, it's like, imagine that you're shocked, that like there is, that you're shocked on the border with guilt and shame or fear. So if my survival strategy is that I need to be nice and sweet and welcoming and pleasing, and then I do something just for myself or express my own needs, then I will be on the boundaries of my comfort zone, and I will be shocked with guilt and shame, and I will step back into my comfort zone. This is why it's so difficult for us to change, even if we see and understand our habits and patterns, because deep within there is part of us that think I need to be like this to be loved, and therefore to survive, because a small child needs her or his parents to take care of them in order to survive, and for them to do that we need to be loved. So we build up this conditioned self, and we start identifying with that self. We start to think that this is who I am, and we forget our unconditional self, the big self, the soul that we are also that we have also brought into this life, and which I think is our true nature, our true self. So to explain this, how the Enneagram can help us, I think there is always a longing back to this place within where I feel happy without a reason, peaceful, strong, wise, all of that. And we are actually trying to get back to that, but the ego doesn't know how to do it. And actually what the ego does is it brings us further and further away from what we are longing for. So what I'll do now is I'll go through the 9 different types in a way, very sweet and short way, because that's what this allows for. And I will try to explain how we do remember what the soul is all about, and how the ego's way of getting back there is a good intention, but it gets us further and further away. So I'll start with type 8, because this is the first of the body types. So we have 3 body types, 3 emotional types, and 3 head types. And we usually start with the body, because without the body we wouldn't be here. So at type 8, what I remember as a type 8 is there is a place within my soul where I am innocent, where I know truth, and where I am strong in a way that it's not ever affected by what happens in life. And so I want to get back to that. But then my ego, the strategy of the ego is to try to make myself strong by closing off my vulnerability and all of the human stuff. And actually by doing that, so by trying to make myself big and strong and independent and set my own way, I am actually getting further and further away from the innocence and truth and strength that I'm looking for, because I will actually weaken myself. So if I don't allow myself to be a whole human being, and this means also vulnerable when I'm vulnerable, I am weakening myself, because I'm shutting off important aspects of being a human being. So in order to arrive back to the soul qualities, the soul essence, I need to do, and this goes for all of the Enneagram types, I need to do what I am the most scared of. So as an 8, I need to allow myself to become vulnerable and small and to not know anything in order for holy truth to land in me, and to know my own innocence. And so I could talk for days just about one type, but as I don't have a lot of time, I'll just get on. So type 9, I remember there was a place where we were all one, and everything was in balance and peaceful. And so I want to get back to that, but my ego thinks that I do that by not really being present in the world, by not really being present in my body, by not rocking the boat, by not making any kind of conflict. And actually when I do that, when I follow my ego's strategy, I remove myself from the oneness that I long for, because if I'm not present with me, I cannot feel the oneness with nature or with other people, and other people will feel disconnected from me. And if I'm not present in the world as the person I am, and if I'm not willing to stand in the conflict and imbalance and all of that, I will never find the peace underneath. There is a peace and a sense of balance on a soul level that is always there, even when the waves are going crazy. And so in order to get back to what I long for, I need to do what I'm the most scared of. So to become fully present within myself and within this life, and that may rock the boat. Well, it will for sure rock the boat. And I will sometimes feel disconnected, because when I have opinions or needs that are different to yours, I will feel the separation. But it's also the only way to feel the connectedness. So I'll just say the names actually. Type 8 is the challenger or the protector or the leader. Type 9 is the mediator, the peacemaker. And then we go to type 1, which is the last of the body types. It's the perfectionist or idealist. And I remember on a soul level, the perfection of everything, like on the soul level, everything is filled with this beautiful perfection and a sense of unconditional love for everything in its messiness. And I also remember the goodness of the soul. Like, there is a place where everyone are good and ethical, and where we really take care of each other and love each other. And so I have this ideal, I remember this ideal version, and I want to get back to that place within where innate goodness and love lives. And so my ego thinks that I do that by trying to perfect myself and the world. I try to get back to that perfect sensation that lives within the soul. And so I do that by, correcting myself, correcting the world, by looking at what's wrong. And by doing that, I actually remove myself further and further away from the goodness and the perfection of the soul. And so the courageous act for type 1 is to start loving oneself and the world as it is, with all the mess, and then see how actually everything becomes more good and perfect when we just love it. And that goes for ourselves as well. Yeah, so now we are moving into the realm of the emotional, the heart types. And type 2 is the pleaser, the good friend. And I remember this place where unconditional love lives. The love that is, not conditioned by anything. And I really want to get back to this place within. And so my ego thinks that in order to get back to that, the feeling of being appreciated and loved just for who I am, I need to make an effort to be connected with people, to be sweet and nice and pleasing and like the really good friend, in order to get that. And actually, the more I make an effort out of myself, I actually move away from the sensation of being unconditionally loved just for being me. And so the courageous act is to love yourself first, and then know that from this love within and from this effortlessness, you will sense into this unconditional love. But we need to start with ourselves. No one outside of us can make us feel unconditionally loved. I just want to say, if we ask the soul, do you really think I'm worth loving? The soul would say, I don't even get that question. Who can you, who are made by love, as love, be anything but that? So this is what type 2 represents in all of us. Type 3, the achiever. I know that I am here for something. There is a greater purpose in my life, and I'm here to shine the light that lives within me. And then the ego thinks I can do that best, by being effective, by being a success, by being the best at things. And so the journey is to land back into the holy worth that lives within, to start making the doing or being led by the heart or love in the doing, and not by the ego, and to sense into the holy worth and the holy worth and holy identity that lies within the soul when we dare to do nothing. And I just want to add that all of the Enneagram types actually live within all of us, but we know one specific journey better than the others. So this all goes for all of us. Type 4, I am longing back to my holy identity. I remember there was a time and a place where I knew exactly who I was as a holy son or daughter of God. And I'm looking for that identity. And the way the ego does that is by looking for what is wrong with me, what is missing within me, and how can I actually truly know who I am. So I'm looking for my original face, my authentic self. And actually the way the ego goes about this is to identify with the longing, the suffering in being disconnected from the soul. And the more I look for who I am and try to find myself and try to gather the pieces that seem to be missing in my system, the more I get away from the sense of being whole and holy, and my holy self. So there is an invitation to stop looking and to lean into and sink into the whole, holy, divine identity. Type 5 is the first of the head types. And I remember there was this place where I had infinite wisdom, and just infinite wisdom and clarity. And I want to get back to that place. And so I think in order to get back to that place, well, my ego thinks I will have to gather information and knowledge. So I try to gather information and knowledge to get back to this sense of inner wisdom. And actually, I often get away from it more and more by thinking I have to just know a little bit more. I just have to understand a little bit more. Because the wisdom of the soul is far beyond what we can comprehend with our minds or intellect. And so the journey for type 5 is to give up knowledge and in order to sink into the wisdom that is always available for all of us at all times. Type 6, type 5 is the curious, the engineer, the nerdy type. Type 6 is the loyalist, the skeptic. And I remember a time where I felt completely guided and safe. And so my ego thinks that in order to be safe in this world, I have to try to look for everything that can go wrong, whereby I actually frighten myself and feel more and more unsafe. And so the journey is to let go of that and to sink into the guidance that is always available to all of us. And the holding and wise guidance that is always there for us on a soul level. So the last of the types, type 7, the last of the head types is the adventurous, the the happy, positive, adventurous type. And as a type 7, I remember there was a time and a space within me where I had complete freedom and the joy of the soul. And I want to get back to this sense of freedom and joy of the soul. And so the ego thinks that if I anticipate the next joyous activity, or if I plan something in the future that I can look forward to and really enjoy, then I can access this kind of joy and freedom. And actually what happens is I get further and further away from it, because the joy and the freedom that we are seeking is only available in the now, and it already lives within. So there is no stimuli or no adventure, no next big thing that will ever give us the joy and the freedom of the soul. And with type 7, there is this longing to feel completely nurtured, like the little baby. And only our presence in the now can really give us that. So, I think my time is about to be up. So I hope this gave you some very short sensation of what the Enneagram is about, and how the Enneagram is actually a soul journey map that can help us back to our innate, divine, big self. Thank you.